and gentlemen, it is February 25th, 2019, and this is FAWMtalk. Ooh, spoilers. I'm of course Juha, and with me as always Mr. T.C. Elliott. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing fine. A little rushed today, but overall, not too bad. How about you?
Well, I'm alright. I was having a little bit sore throat, so I'm testing out these cough drops. It's a Finnish brand called Minthon. It's very excellent. Well, there are many tastes, but this or flavors, but this is a lemon and honey with added vitamin C.
Ooh.
Very refreshing. I quite like these. So if you have if you have a chance to get your hands on Minthons, just try them out. Finnish cough drops. 2 thumbs up.
I'm not a big lemon and honey fan, but
Well,
sounds alright.
what else? They got like a lot of minty flavors, and I think there was cola.
Cola?
Yeah, eucalyptus, those sort of things. I think there's even like a licorice. So.
Sounds interesting. I'll be sure to look for them in my local drugstore.
Goody.
Hopefully I don't need them. Hopefully my voice is, knock on wood, I've been healthy this February.
Yeah, I've been doing all right too. For the whole winter, in fact, I haven't had many problems. But
Yeah, I had a touch of a cold, I guess, but it really didn't turn into anything at all. And it was very mild. I've had a couple of morning after headaches, but that's self-induced.
Well, yeah, some people are really feeling ill this February, and
Yeah,
thoughts
I've
and
read
prayers. It's really not.
that. No.
It's really not fun when you're feeling creative and you just can't do anything.
Right. Yeah. Several people, actually.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Have you ever posted a song and kept it locked for any reason?
No. Have you?
Yeah, just yesterday. So I was just wondering how. I know in some years past there have been a few locked songs, and there was some. I don't know, just frustration, I guess is the best word, for some of the zongbusters that were wanting to get 0 zongs on the site by the second week of March or whatever, and they couldn't because they were locked. So I would like to give a shout out to Pearl and Amanda from the Slack chat yesterday. They listened to me when I was like, oh, I wrote this song and I want to post it, but I don't want to make people mad, so I locked it.
Oh. So can you tell us what was the song about?
No. Yes. So it's a political song about guns.
Right. Well.
And it's not something that I would normally do in FAWM or 5090. That's not the right audience, and it's not what it's intended for. It probably won't get used at all. It's for something else completely. But
There have been political songs a lot. I've run into quite a few of them.
Yeah, and I've had this conversation with Mike Sklyer repeatedly. We've had the conversation on the forums repeatedly, and as a matter of fact, this is one of the few. I guess there was a folk and protest song forum, as opposed to just a political, post your political songs here. And honestly, I don't really visit that. I've written some hard rock, some politically tinted songs in the past, so I'm definitely as guilty, but I really don't like being preached to. It doesn't matter if I agree with you or don't. I don't like that. And it's it's tough because you know, in one sense, I like the idea that you do something, and if it alienates people, that's a good thing, or it's not, at least not a bad thing. So one of the marketing things that I read was like, you know, if you can come out and say that, you know, Celine Dion absolutely will hate this music, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can't really have everybody like every song or your song. So if you get your audience and you aim for that and succeed, you're better off with a smaller audience that you really succeed than a little bit of broader audience where you don't really succeed. And so it's not necessarily a negative. I'm not saying it's a positive. But I'm also, when it comes to politics and like on Facebook and other things, it's like, it doesn't matter what your stance is. If you're constantly posting about it, or the way some people talk about it, you turn people off. And it creates, and like, you're not going to make a difference. And so for me, a pro-gun song, an anti-gun song, doesn't matter. You put it on the site, somebody's not going to agree, and somebody's going to be possibly, maybe not, but somebody might get aggravated or angry that you're saying something that they don't agree with, and there's no upside to it. There's no constructive. I'm not changing anybody's mind. I'm not making it a more creative place by sharing something like that. I
see what you mean.
So from an artist standpoint, something Pearl said in the chat was, you know, she thinks artists should be allowed and are allowed to be able to post whatever they want. If that's what you want to write about and that's what you put on, that's what you should do, whether it's on FAWM or something else. And I agree with her in principle. But I think we also, as artists, we also have the ability and responsibility to know when it's going to do good and when it's going to do harm. And if you do something, regardless of what it is, if I'm doing a very heavy track and I go to some site that's all about folk music and I post it here and just do like that, that's probably not going to be received well. I'm probably going to do more harm than good. It's not going to be a good thing for that community. It's not necessarily a bad thing for that community, but I have the choice whether I want to do that. And if I get pushback, then it's my choice whether I use that forum or not. And so that's what I've exercised. And it's weird that I've done that, because I've tried to shy away from that in the past, hence the Lock song.
Well, I think it takes a little bit of wisdom to know the difference when something has a potential to do any good, or if you're gonna get a positive reaction. I mean, I know exactly what you mean about the political posts. And I follow quite a bit of people on Twitter, and whenever somebody posts something political, I just immediately unfollow them. I don't want that content on my feed, so it's a weird thing.
I'm the exact same way on Instagram. I usually give them a one strike. That's not a proper term, but I if somebody has something that's political on Instagram, then it doesn't bother me. If the same person keeps going, or if it's multiple times, if that becomes what it is, I silence that feed. I don't want that there. It's bad enough on Facebook. And usually it's something I agree with, or at least don't disagree with. But I don't want that negative experience.
Yeah.
Even if I agree with somebody, there's no, to me, and it's personal, it's different for everybody, there's no upside for me to engage in that.
Yeah. And for me, especially, when I'm browsing around like social media and other types of sites like that, I don't want to see political content, because it's on a different level. It's some sort of, it comes off as like you should have more responsibility, or you should take more responsibility about these things. And oftentimes it's about, because I have a lot of friends from all around the world. So if it's something about United States politics, there's nothing I can do about that. So it's just somebody saying that things are wrong, and I'm nodding my head like, I agree they are wrong, but it doesn't get any better if I'm feeling bad.
All right. Yeah. I agree.
And even if it's like Finnish politics or some sort of there are these groups who, how do you say that? Like, who advocate like animal rights and whatever. It gets kind of tedious when it's every day. It's something new about foxes this and stray dogs that. And, even if I could do something about it, and probably I could, but I'm not going to. So it's, I don't know. I just don't want to see it. Then it's
Yeah.
it's like I don't know if preachy is the right word, but it's a little bit.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I was just wondering if you'd ever gone through and what other reasons there. I know of an instance or two where somebody had a song that was very personal, and they posted it, and then they got a comment back, and the comment was not a bad comment, but she realized that maybe this is one that she doesn't necessarily want that feedback right now, because of the way the song felt to her. And so it wasn't somebody said something wrong, so she's going to lock it or anything like that. But she was like, this song was for me. And it got 2 or 3 comments, and then she locked it down, and she's like, I don't want that out. It's too personal. And I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to hear the song, but I completely respected the fact that, she wrote the song and that wasn't the time. And maybe someday she'll share it, or maybe that was just a catharsis. She wrote it, she had it, and it was out, and that's what the purpose was of that song. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But I'll probably end up putting a comment on it just so that the Zongbusters don't
I don't
feel...
Sure.
Need.
Yeah, like Nana said in the chat, she usually puts a comment on the song herself so that it doesn't show up as a song on the site. So it makes sense. It's just...
Yeah.
But I don't think there are many reasons for blocking your songs. It's typically, I think it's typically because people don't want others to hear what they've done. But also, there seem to be more locked songs when FAWM is ending. People are creating new songs so that they can post their demos when they are ready and update them in placeholder songs.
Yeah.
But that's...
I think there was a discussion about that a couple of years ago where somebody basically called out people who did that cheaters, and that kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. And I've been reading through the forums where, and it's been a while, but somebody was like, well, I've written these songs, but I haven't recorded and posted them yet. So they kind of did what you had done a few years back, where the first week or 2 weeks was writing, but they didn't post anything until they had the demo to a good spot, or at least a demo for them to come up. And so that argument kind of went forth with like, I've got a lyric, I've got a melody, but it's not in a place where I can share it. And so some people were like, well, I'll just put lyric post of a lyric, and they were like, but I've got more than that, I don't want to share it until I have it. And and the negative of doing that is, even if you go back and you post it and you have it, is most of the audience is gone. It's probably not going to get heard, at least very much, after the first couple of weeks of March. So that's the good thing about FAWM and those lock songs is, it's an individual's choice, and it doesn't matter the reason. It's their right to put a lock song up there, and we should, and I think most of us do, respect the right of the artist to decide who they share with, or what they share with, or when they share it.
Yeah, I wonder if there should be some sort of the setting for maybe you could share it with people who have watch listed you only, or some sort of... There's not a friend system in FAWM, but if there was, you could only share those songs with your friends. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think there's enough opportunities. If there is somebody you want that feedback from, we can do that as well. So I definitely don't think that there needs to be much of a change to the FAWM site or to the structure to accommodate the very few instances that something's out of the normal. especially when you consider how much time the volunteers put in. And we donate and it helps pay for everything, but if you really paid for everything that went into the site, we don't come close to funding all that. So yeah,
that makes you think. Well, let's get some music here.
Sure.
We got a cool song called Our Love Is A Riot, and this is a fantastic collaboration by Adam Follett and Judy Smith. Love Is A Riot by Adam Follett and Judy Smith. Very interesting, those Atari sounds in the background.
Yeah.
Coolio.
Coolio.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was cool. So that's Ad for Peru and Judy Pie on the FAWM site.
I wonder. Very repetitive elements to the lyrics. I was reading them on the song page, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what is a K-hole? That is one of those things I'm kind of pondering about that.
I'm not sure.
Not many words that start with K.
Is in a K-hole.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
According to the evil Google, it's falling into a K-hole is slang for how it feels when you take a high enough dose of ketamine that your awareness of the world around you and your control over your own body becomes so profoundly impaired that you are temporarily unable to interact with others.
That's too deep for me, I think. It's one of those references you only get if you have a medical degree.
Or you use the evil Google.
Yeah.
In the ASCII. There's some cool. It's been a while since I've heard this. There's some cool lines in this one.
Yes. I was very much paying attention to the lyrics this time around because
Whoa.
they somehow...
That's unusual.
Yeah, they somehow pop out. And I think it's the flavor of the words when they have a specific rhythm, and when you have a typical love song and you have your typical love song lyrics, then it's they kind of just wash over you. But when there are more interesting words and phrases, I think your mind automatically starts to pay more attention.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, something weird that I recognize.
Yeah, something weird, interesting, unusual.
How did people know anything before Google?
Encyclopedia sets?
Yeah, was K falling into K-hole? Was it in your encyclopedia?
I don't think so.
Yes.
I remember reading all the K entries when I was in the 6th grade, and I don't remember it.
Really?
No, not at all.
Maybe it was in the F entries.
Ah.
But it's more of
Maybe.
is it more of a you have your encyclopedias and then you have dictionaries, and is there like a phrase dictionaries? I don't know. I don't know this stuff.
There's a slang dictionary on the internet.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was ever a print version of that before the internet, before 92.
Yeah. I mean, internet has changed our lives so much. It is. People were talking that it's just a fad, like back in the 90s. Passing.
Well, they say we're going through the informational revolution, much like the Industrial Revolution. And I was just reading, probably on Facebook, a link on Facebook, I imagine, but I just read an article where they were writing about a study or an experiment where they had a group of people who spent 2 hours a day studying on the internet for free, just free resources on anything they wanted. But whatever it is, they spent 2 hours a day for 3 years or up to 3 years. And if it was finance, they had somebody in the group ended up becoming on through investments in the stock market and stuff. They had over $1 million of earnings at the end of the 3 years. They had somebody who became a performing classical guitarist in about 3 years. So all of those. So basically, their point was, I think it was an argument against licensing. So if you want to cut people's hair, you have to go through mandatory licensing in the United States, or you can't open a business to be. But they were also talking about physicians. There has to be mandatory training, and so you can see how that's not a weird, awful thing to have. But they referenced there was somebody who performed 3 successful surgeries and had not finished medical school somewhere in the world. Their point was that right now the excuse that we can't find the information is not there if we put the work into it. Yeah. Like the information's there. The hard part is disseminating the information to get what you need out of the wrong information or all the information, as opposed to not having the information. So if you want to be an expert on something, 2 hours a day, less than 3 years, and it's possible.
Yeah, I believe that. It's amazing. I mean, internet was. I remember when I started playing guitar, I was already looking up like chords and tablatures for Iron Maiden songs. But before that, when I was just playing drums, I wanted to learn playing drums more. And even with the guitar, I had a couple of teachers very briefly, but I can't imagine learning to play the way that I know how to play today if I was just relying on some like teacher.
I think it's possible, but
you have to get very lucky.
Yeah, I think that so many people learn in different ways. Mm-hmm. So, you can take 2 people, and what works best for one will not necessarily work best for the others. Now, that being said, there are things that will benefit everybody. But I see it at work a lot of times. If I'm training somebody and I have them and I'm explaining something, if they can read it and then listen to me, they internalize it better. Then I'll have somebody else, they can read it all day long, listen to me all day long, but unless I take them and show them, they're not going to get much at all from either the reading or and then all of us, I think most of us, all 3 are the best. If you can read about it, have somebody explain it to you in conversation, and get some hands-on, that if you can, so if you have an hour to show somebody, if you can do all 3 of those in that hour, you're going to have more success typically than I wonder how much of that is because we learn all 3 ways, or because those 3 ways hits the one way that each person's going to most likely learn. Yeah. But yeah,
in the army, we had a very specific pattern how we taught everything. So first, for an example, if it was about assembling or disassembling and cleaning and assembling your assault rifle, and how you would teach that is first you just show it quickly, like how you normally would do it, like you take each part out and then you clean it and then you put the parts back on. Then you would explain the process in various detail and show it in steps, and then you would have all the people there do it in like step by step. You would show them one step, they would do it, and so on, and then finally they would do it the whole process. So I think that, yeah, because people learn in different ways, but I think that kind of, you have to pay attention in multiple different ways, and that had good results.
Definitely. Yeah.
And of course, in the army, it's just repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition all the time. Let's do some more music. I'm feeling kind of, it's 2:30 a.m. here. Kind of okay. Yeah, let's listen to some music. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this one's good. This is a song called "Don't Say You're Sorry" by Billy C and Christy.
An hour ticked by as I sip my drink. Alone with soft music, I reflect on things. You're a woman in disguise, and that's all that there is. I'll add your selfish to my growing list. Don't say you're sorry 14 hours later. You're a woe is me martyr, asking for favors. Don't say you need me, I know it's pretend. You're a broken record player, and this has to end. 2 weeks go by and you're here at the bar. No circles under your eyes, I know who you are. Do you see your greed and a heart so aloof? Do you feel anything when I walk in the room? Don't say you're sorry 14 days later. You're woe is me martyr, asking for favors. Don't say you need me and build a defense. You're a broken record player, and this has to end. My heart may hurt for a while, but I'll make it through. Your heart holds nothing in the world of you. Don't say you're sorry now or later. You're woe is me martyr, asking for favors. Don't say you need me, you're not my friend. You're a broken record player, and this has to end. You're a broken record player, and this has to end.
Don't Say You're Sorry by Billy C and Christy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was getting some flashbacks on playing guitar. I got all my guitars from the storage, and I haven't really played them at all. But as I was listening to that, there were a couple of times where you hear like the low E string. It's like boom, it's sounding a really twangy sound, and times when you're playing some chord and then there's like an open string that's playing. It's, I don't know, this got the certain type of feeling, and it's just I got a very emotional response to that, I gather.
Yeah. I've been a fan of Billy C for a long time. So he brought up on my wall, I think, there was a year early on where there was a bunch of Stalker songs. I don't know if it was a challenge or not, but it was funny, I guess. And so there was a bunch of kind of creepy Stalker songs, and I kind of did one this year, and he was reminiscing about the good old days of murder ballads and Stalker songs on FAWM.
Yeah, I think I read that comment.
So
yeah, I haven't never thought about doing one. This is an interesting idea.
I did one year, and at the end it was, I don't know if it was exactly a Stalker song, but it was "You Kicked Me Out, and I'm out in the bushes, up in the tree, doing this, and then
Right.
at the end of the song, it reveals it's the cat. So it
That's
wasn't
good.
that. It wasn't a great song, but it was kind of a cool little twist.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I like that. So there was a super skirmish last weekend. Did you partake in any way?
Yeah. Yeah. Think it was Friday evening, and then Saturday. I had, at some point, it was like 5 songs in 13 hours, and I slept in there. So, but I think the first song wasn't a skirmish song, and then I did a couple of skirmishes Friday night. Actually, I did a. Did you see the altered consciousness thread? The challenge, I guess, where you're. I don't even know who posted it, but it was like whether it's alcohol or something else, you're to write a song in an altered state of mind. And Friday night, we went out and had margaritas. My wife and I went out with a friend of hers, and I came home and participated in a skirmish, and I remembered participating in the skirmish. But the next morning I was sitting there and I was looking and I was like, what's this? And I played it and I'm like, oh, wow, I don't remember that at all. So I vaguely remembered it after. But I did I usually don't do blues tunes in FAWM or 5090, or at least not very much. And it was an interesting listen the next morning.
That's most of
Like,
my
oh, that
songs.
sounds like something I would do.
Hey, but yeah, because you have to do so many songs in such a short time. I do just keep on writing. Well, this year now, but typically I keep on writing, and when a FAWM is over, I'm like, "What is this song?" I have no recollection of ever doing this, and I push play. I'm like, "What is this song? What is going?" Then there's like one riff that was like, "Oh yeah, it's this one."
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that experience where it's like it takes almost the whole song before I'm like, what is this? Where, you know? And then it happens a lot where I'm like, I have no idea what this is, and then I start listening to it and it doesn't take very long, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this one. But it happens a lot that way, that it takes something about it before I realize. And sometimes like you were talking about, you do so many songs in like 5090. I did quite a few songs this last year, and then in probably December or maybe January I started listening back. I think it was in January I started listening back, and I was like, what's this? And I listened, I'm like, I don't remember this. It's only 4 months ago. What's this? And then it's starting to come back. All right, I got you. And I still use 99% of the time I use a notebook and write all my lyric sheets in there. What I find when I write it down, if I have a line, by the time I get to the next line, I'm already. It's another way of opening up the flow to the next line. What will come up like? So when I type it, I'm a fast enough typer that I get done with it, and I'm not. I get stuck more because it's start and stop as opposed to write and have ideas and jot something down. And so the actual writing it down with a pen helps me a lot. I really like that. But the cool thing about that is I have, I don't know, 12 of these things that are full from dating back from years and years and years. And even a lot more of those, the big ones from when I was in college all the way up. I've got tons of these notebooks with ideas and all sorts of stuff in it. And so I can go back, I find the year, I have the date in the front, I find the year, and I go back, and I can see, oh yeah, I remember now because, it started off this way, and I changed it, or I rewrote it, or whatever. And I find that's really cool to go back sometimes and just page through the notebooks and see the notes that I had. It's kind of cool.
I wonder if that will work for me. Writing in English is a bit of a challenge in its own right. In my day-to-day life, I typically use Finnish when I'm communicating with everyone else, and it's. I'm kind of tired of Finnish. I would much rather just use English. Maybe my pronunciation would be a little bit better too, But yeah, when I start to write lyrics or whatever, when I write like my game design documents and whatever, I always use English because it's just it makes sense. All the terminology is in English, so it's just easier. But when I try to do something actually creative, like lyrics, finding words that rhyme, that's super difficult for me. And with like I've described many times, like with guitar, when I'm playing something, I start to already get a feeling of what needs to come next. But with lyrics, it's I'm only focused on what I'm writing in that moment, and when I've written one line, I have to stop and start thinking, okay, what even could happen next? What could the next line be? It's kind of difficult for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have a hard enough time as a native English speaker.
Oh.
You know, I do use Cow Exchange Platt. He has the Dillfrog Storm and a rhyming tool. It's like a rhyming dictionary online. The cool thing about Storm is you can click on to it on your phone or on your browser, and it loads up the library. So it doesn't have to. After that, it doesn't really have to think about so you don't have to wait. You can actually not have an internet connection and it'll work. But I use it quite a bit. I find a lot of times, even if I don't use the words, if I have an idea, going to there and looking through and seeing a lot of different rhymes helps me. So, yeah.
I use Rhyme Zone a lot, and that's absolutely necessary. I wouldn't be able to write any rhymes without that. Maybe one day. I use
Storm a lot. I used to use Rhyme Zone, and then just for no other reason than Platt was in the chat years ago. Before he had Storm, even it was Dillfrog Muse or something, and I just started using it. He's like, "Well, if you're going to use one, use this and tell me if it works well. I'm going to test it out." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do that," and I got used to it. And then with Storm, I really like it. So it's it's what I use. It's not necessarily better or worse than any of the other ones. It's just what I use, and I'm used to it. And he's still working on it. There's a few every once in a while, like it'll have some off rhymes that aren't really rhymes. But I said something to him about it one time, and he said, I'm more concerned about words that do rhyme that aren't there than I am about words that don't rhyme that are there. And I was like, yeah, if I was dealing with this as a hobby on the side, I probably wouldn't worry about it too much either. But when he has Storm came out, I think 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, I'm really impressed with it. It's good. Right. It's not perfect, but it's really good.
What is that then?
What's that?
What is Storm then?
It's a next iteration of his rhyming dictionary.
Oh, okay.
So it's muse.dillfrog.com/storm. So it's just a little different. I'll put a link up in the chat just in case. But so it's just a rhyming dictionary. But the cool thing about it, and if you load it up, you'll see it's thinking for a minute, and then it just said a word to Storm, and then it. That's pretty cool. But I mean, I use it, like I said, because I got used to it. Platt asked for help, and but it's my preferred one. I used to use Rhyme Zone just a little bit. I actually have 2 or 3 rhyming dictionaries, actual physical rhyming dictionaries I'll use.
Oh. Did you post a link? I can't see it.
I put it in the YouTube.
Yeah, no, it didn't show.
Chat.
Didn't show up for me. It's in talk chat. Do I need to change this? Oh, there it is. Oh no, no, it isn't. What's going on?
I don't know. My chat doesn't work all the time. At least not very well.
Sign into chat. What is this nonsense? Oh well. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Show this. Gonna show that. Yeah, it doesn't. What was a problem? A problem. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's a little froggy. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's see here. let's get a good word. Horizon. That's a nice word. Advertisement.
I don't have advertisements, but I probably have an ad blocker.
No,
So
like it's one of the rhymes. Advertisement for
Oh.
Horizon.
I don't-
Contrivance.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's advisement.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you look there, it says dial a rhyme. It says feeling rhymey. You see that in blue? I think it is blue. I'm colorblind. If you click the arrow down, you can go down and pick like rhyme perfect or additive or
Oh, cool.
family or
Yeah.
whatever. So so it goes. It starts at it kind of defaults to feeling rhymey, and that's a pretty good one for just stuff. And there's a dictionary filter, so you can do parts of speech. If you look at any POS that's parts of speech, you can go down to only adjectives or adverbs or nouns. You can only have common words. You can do stress. So if you do something like, let's say, like me, M-E, me, because that's a real easy word to rhyme, you'll see a bunch of results. And then the bold ones are the more common, and the non-bold ones are less common.
Right.
And then you can go to parts of speech. You can actually put in multiple words in there. Sometimes it's pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah.
I like it anyway.
Well, speaking of super skirmishes, those things really saved me in 159. It was when I actually got 50 songs down. So there was probably at least three super skirmishes, and each one of those I made 6 songs. So it really bumps up the song amount.
Yeah.
But it's really, you gotta stop if you're doing something like 59. You really gotta stop thinking about like making one song every 2 days. It's more of a, for me at least, it's more of a, you do little bursts and multiple songs at a time.
Yeah, I found, and it's actually in FAWM this year, it's worked out the same. But the thing I like about 5090 is I can take a week vacation, not have a guitar with me, or might get ideas or write down snippets or put something in the phone or a melody or something. But typically I'm not doing music. I'm gone. In years past, my daughter was on a travel softball team, so she was all over the country playing in Colorado or Arkansas or wherever, and so weekends, weeks, we're in Oklahoma so many times, and you're away, but you come back, and you've missed 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, but then you hit it, you kind of feel refreshed. You're kind of inspired again, isn't the right word, but like excited to get back to it because you've been away from it for a while, so that you can it kind of feels like it's almost like if you do too much all at once, that you kind of run out of things to say, or you're kind of depleting your energy. And then when you're away, even if it's just for a day or two, and you're doing something completely different, and then you come back and you've had different experiences, you've done whatever, it's like, okay, I can start again. And that's kind of happened this fall 2 different times. That I kind of have an alternating schedule. 1 week I work 8-hour weeks for 8-hour days for 5 days, and the next one's 10-hour days for 4 days. And the cool thing about the 10-hour day is I get a 3-day weekend. So I can sit there for Friday and Saturday and basically do all the music I want. But with travel and everything else, those 10-hour days drag on, and before I know, it's past my bedtime. I'm tired, I'm dragging, it's a long day at work. Right now things are going on at work, it's a little hectic, and you feel drained. And so both of the last 10-hour week was 2 weeks ago. I basically didn't do a whole lot music-wise that entire week. And last week it was an 8-hour week, but there was, between the FAWMtalk and some stuff going on just with my wife and in the family, there was a little bit of a null there too. So what I'm seeing is having those little 2-day breaks or 3-day breaks where I'm not even trying, if something comes out, if I have time, great. But if not, don't worry about it. I'll listen when I can. It actually helps me. So I do a ton on the weekends. I do a ton certain times and then not as much.
Yeah.
Works very well for me.
That's great. It's great, and it probably works for other people too. Let's see here. We got... What we got? We got a song called Falling Down. I'm wondering if this is the Michael Douglas film. It's probably related to that. It's by a Lavish Dude and Deadhead. So let's give it a listen.
I'm awake, but in my mind I am falling down, falling to the ground. I'm awake, but in my mind I am falling down, falling right down. Whenever the stars come out, walking along the water. Whenever the stars come out, oh, I think about falling down. I'm asleep, but in my eyes the sun is bright, the sun is real bright. I'm asleep, but in my eyes the sun is bright, shine real bright. The moon begins to fade. I lay to rest in my home. Oh, the moon begins to fade, and the sun starts shining in my eyes. Down and I arrive at work. Another late night, sun goes down and I arrive at work, working late nights. Whenever the stars come out, walking along the water. Whenever the stars come out, I think about falling down. Yeah, I think about falling down. Oh, I think about falling down. Oh, I think about falling down.
Lavish Dude and Deadhead, and the track was called Falling Down.
That was cool.
Quite interesting. I was listening when the violin came in. I assumed that was violin. Could have been something else, but
Yeah, it sounded like it.
the tonality was really interesting. At first, when the violin came on, I was listening. Is that like some sort of horn instrument? Like I don't know, French horn or trombone or something? It sounded very interesting.
I don't think I heard that.
It took me like 5 seconds to really hear. It's like,
Realize
it's violin. But I don't know.
Yeah, but that... I think I know what you mean. When it came in, that tonality it had was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the way it played.
Particularly when I do violin in one of those orchestral pieces or whatever, it's a lot higher tonality. It's very...
It could be viola, but I think it was...
I think
violin.
it was violin, yeah. Because
Me too.
viola has the... it's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit more nasally. Well,
Maybe.
yeah, but I wanted to ask if you have some sort of, because we talked about this in one of the shows. I think it was with Steven, probably. We talked about like I don't really feel like writing any more songs because I've written so many, and I'm kind of more inspired in trying to do something with the songs that I've already written. But do you think it might be still beneficial to do something? I mean, what's if I'm at five songs now? I'm probably not gonna make 14. I could, but probably not. So, but if I want to get even something done, if I'm feeling just down that I don't, my number is so low, and I'm sure there are many people out there who have just are feeling kind of stuck. Do you have some sort of, what's your advice, or how would you get unstuck, like at the end in the form?
Well, that's that question can be kind of, I guess it depends on what you're trying to get out of it. So for me, for a long time, the act of creation, just the having a new song, regardless of what it was like or how good it was or how much I liked it or whatever, was a reward in itself, if that makes sense. Like just the act of practicing writing songs. So if I wrote a song, I didn't have any expectation that it had to be anything good. You learn something from it, and that was cool. But it's kind of like a drug, which I was having a conversation about nicotine at work. But you know, when you get that drug, it takes more of it to satisfy the craving. And so there came a point where just writing songs wasn't enough for me. And I still do that. If you look at the skirmishes, that's basically what I used to do even before there were skirmishes. I just sit down, write a song, and if it took 30 minutes or 2 hours, it didn't matter. I did it. And it was pretty much while I sit here, this is what I come up with, and I don't come back to it or whatever. But what I found for me was writing those songs still had value. I still learned from them. But I really learned when I was writing songs and I wanted to get something across. So that could be I wanted to do something with the lyric, or I wanted to try something in the music, or I wanted to do a different genre. Like, when I first started off, there was I didn't do any hard rock at all. It was all acoustic guitar. And I never played bass. All those things kind of came from writing songs and posting songs and needing something else and kind of expanding. And so for me personally, I'm over 14 songs, but I still want good songs, and I still want to write. There's something to be said about writing songs and to find something that I like. But I think my writing style and your writing style are different enough that I'm not sure that would be enough for you. But I think the advice is still good, is there is absolutely nothing wrong with saying, I don't feel it right now, so I'm not going to write a song. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's not what you're feeling, don't write the song. On the other hand, if you're looking for motivation where I kind of want to write a song, but I don't know if there's really a point, one of the things, like for me, is I'll go and look for collaborations. And so can I write a song? And when I do collaborations, they're not always great, but I always think about them in a different way than my own. If I'm doing a skirmish, it really doesn't matter. If it's off pitch a lot, like I'm a little pitchy singer, but if it's off pitch a lot, if there's a glaring note or two, it doesn't matter. It's FAWM. I'm just going to put it out there. But if I'm doing a demo for somebody else, if it's their lyric or something else like that, I want it at least good enough that they can listen to it. It's not going to be perfect by any stretch in FAWM, but it puts me on a different level where I look at it in a more critical frame of mind, and I try to do something for somebody else. Right. That puts me in a different creative point, and almost always, if I do a collaboration or two, no matter how it comes, whether I've got music and I add words, or whether I've sent something to them, if they've got lyric and I do music, I almost always get in a creative space. It always put me, because I kind of did something not just for my own satisfaction, but it's even though they've done their part separately. It's a collaborative. So for me, if I get stuck, I almost always start looking at lyric posts and try to do or ask. I sent yesterday. So this morning I sent. I did a acoustic guitar, bass line, real simple drum loop or few loops, and did a drum part, and I sent it to another FAWMer, and they're like, hopefully I have time to get this. Yeah, hopefully you do. No strings attached. If you get to it, great. If you don't, no big deal. But that was cool. That kept me, like, that's more rewarding than just trying to say, okay, I want a song for this.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I actually might do that. So what's the etiquette on those type of collaborations where you just pick a lyrics-only post? Are there... Well, first of all, I mean, if you're not only answering to me, but to people who might be watching this, so... is there... Can you just pick any lyrics off the site? Doesn't have song, or do you have to ask the person, or is it okay for you to change things around?
So it's different. So the short answer is no. It's not okay to change things. You can't just take any lyric. You've got to go through the process. The longer answer is it depends on who you're collaborating with. So there are certain people who, and some of them will post in their bio, and some of them will post on the song, and they're like, if you want to do music, do music. Just let me know, post it and let me know when you're done. But that's the minority. Most people want to know, or they might have somebody that's already putting music to a lyric. So I usually always ask, even if I have an idea for it. So if I'm doing that, if I'm looking at lyric and I have an idea, I'll pull out the guitar, and I almost always have a melody or a chord progression or some part, maybe not the whole song, but for the verse or the chorus or something. And then I'm like, I really like this. I have an idea. Is it cool if I try it? And then you're waiting anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours to a day to get, when they're back on the site. And that's the hard part. But what I'll typically do is once I've done that is I'll go ahead and write the song and finish it up. And if it's more than just a handheld recording, I'll do the production and everything. And then on the rare occasions when I've been told no, then I scrap the lyric and I write my own, or I go and find another lyric that may fit and do that. If I have to change words, almost always, I'd say 90% of the time, they're cool with little phrasing changes. So if you have to say it slightly different, or do a contraction, or take out a contraction, or add an adverb or something like that to get the melody to match, that's almost always great. But if you're changing content, they almost always want that to be run by them. Just, it's not that they're going to say no necessarily, but think about it. If I had music and I'm like, okay, this is the music, I want something like this, and then somebody started scrambling and did something different, that could be cool. I might like it, but I want to know about it before they come back. I'm like, that's not what I had in mind at all. I wanted a rock song. I didn't want an electronic song or something like that. But the more you do it, the more you get in relationships with other people. So I've got 5 or 6 go-to lyricists that I go and read that I've done collaborations with over the last few years, and I know, like, one of them, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter. I can chop it up. Another one is they want to hear it, and it's not necessary. Just because you did a song doesn't mean it's going to get posted up, so be prepared for it. And I kind of like that because it keeps me, I have to think about what I'm doing in that case. And then there's some people that'll let multiple people do a version of their lyric. So Stephen Wordsmith was in the chat, and like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, hey, I really like this Dragon lyric. Can I do something with it? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then 2 weeks, yesterday, I think it was, I finished up what I was doing with it, and my idea didn't really work. But I did a real quick recording of just a guitar and vocal. Okay, this is the idea. It didn't really work. So I kind of massaged it and played with it and got it to where it did work. Slowed it down and did some other things. Added another little section to it and cut the little section to it and did all the stuff to it. Put it together, got it to him. I'm like, oh, great. And in the meantime, Lori had, I think it's the Three Queens, she had done another version of that lyric and posted that song up. And they're completely different. They're radically different interpretations with the exact same lyric. which is really cool. And I don't have a problem with that at all. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But some people, it's like, okay, this lyric's been used, you know.
Okay. It makes sense, yeah. Guess the important thing is to try to be respectful, try to think what you would like to have. If somebody was using your lyrics or part of your song, what would be cool for you?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me is always ask permission. Sometimes there is an email link, so I will post on the soundboard and drop an email. If I've collaborated with them before, I usually have their email. And I always try to, even the people say, oh, just post it, it's fine. I usually try to send them the song ahead of time, just in case. If I make changes to the lyric that's more than just a phrase, I try to run that by them. Or if I make the change, I'll say, okay, I made this change. This is what I've got. Let me know if there's any changes you want to do. Some people really they want to make if it's a change to the lyric, they want to do it. So if I have anything other than just a real small, minor change, they want to be part of that. It doesn't mean they have to do it all, but they want to have their hand in it before you do that. And all that's perfectly acceptable. I understand completely, but it is individualized. So you have to kind of be careful with who you're. And then some people prefer to add you to an existing song so that, if you think about it, they've posted 14 or more lyric posts up. They could have 28 songs on the site if everyone gets music added to it and they post it again. The drawback to that is a lot of times you get less comments because it's not in the current songs. It's not in the watch list or whatever. But the good thing about that also is there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I really like that. I want to come back and listen to that. So the comments you get from somebody that read the lyric, liked it, and comes back and sees that there's a post, typically they're a little bit more than I like this, and then that's all you get, which is a great comment. But it's really great to have a comment that comes in and says, oh, I was imagining this, and then you went this. This is something it gives you a little bit more substance.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, but the permission, even for if it's new, even if it's somebody that says, I always give them a heads up, hey, I'm working on this, let me know if that's a problem. And then if I work on something and they're like, no, somebody else is using that lyric, I don't want you to do it, I'll tell them. I'm just like, well, I've got something. If you want a second version, that's great. If not, no problem. Do you have another similar lyric that maybe would fit? Yeah. Or I'll go to another lyricist, or I'll just do my own lyric. And sometimes it'll be completely different than that, or sometimes I'll take the emotion I got from that one or the meaning of it, and then I'll try to put a different twist on it. So it's completely inspired by what they did, but it's at a whole new angle.
Right, yeah. All right, so, of course, I was talking with some people before FAWM started that we were going to do collaborations. So maybe I'll do a collab with Pearl. If it completely depends on if I even feel like doing any music these following days. Right. But yeah, there's a good idea. All right, I think this week's pretty busy, so we're gonna have a show tomorrow at the same time.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Absolutely, and we got one more song that I want to play, and this is actually I was listening to this a little bit beforehand when I was checking the levels for the songs, and this one sounded pretty good. It's a song called "I Just Want You," and it is by Rick Amorphous and Liz Petty. So,
awesome.
Until tomorrow, have a good time.
Great.
Something fierce has taken control. Something strong is about to unfold. Something new is going to grow. I can't stop where my heart will go, and I don't want to. No, I just want you. just want you to make you smile. I just want you to hold you a while. I just want you to give you my love. I just want you. I just want you. Something good is gonna happen. Something great when I see you again. Something true to my heart's passion. I can't think straight when I'm thinking of you. And I don't want to. No, I just want you. Yeah, I just want you to make you smile. I just want you to hold you a while. I just want you to give you my love. I just want you. I just want you. To fade away. I don't know about the things all your friends say. I don't know about the state of the world today. And I don't know if our love can ever last. But I know someday we're gonna look back on our past. We're gonna wonder if we did everything we could to give our love a chance. I just want you to make you smile. I just want you to hold you a while. I just want you to give you my love. I just want you. I just want you. I just want you to make you smile. I just want you to hold you a while. I just want you to give you my love. I just want. I just